Hi guys, so this video is going to be a tutorial on how to do a two-part mould. So I'm using this miniature, but obviously you can use any miniature that you want. But I just want to say guys, I don't endorse or condone making spare parts or figures for financial gain. Stick around to the end guys, you really won't want to miss out on how I dispose of these figures. So in this video, I'm going to show how to make the moulds for separate parts of the body. But in a future video, I'll show how to make a two-part mould of a figure that's fully made. So now I've got the torso, the arms and the legs. I'm ready to start building the surround to make the mould. Again, I'm using the Lego and a plasticine as it's really easy to use these items. So you need to get the plasticine as level and flat as you can. And then you take your part and embed it into the plasticine. So I've got the base of the foot along the edge of the plasticine, as that's where I'll be pouring the liquid resin into. To avoid getting any air trapped inside the mould, I had these bits of wooden dowel in, so it'll make an air tube, so when you pour the liquid resin in, it will push the air up through the tube. And to make sure the two parts of the mould align, I'll just make some indentations into this half. And then it's a case of putting more Lego on just to build the height up above the piece. And this is then repeated for all the other parts of the figure. As the body doesn't have any flat pieces, I just embed it into the centre of the mould. And then I put some rods in, as this will then be how I pour the liquid resin into this mould. So once we've done this for all the parts, we can then go on to pouring the first half of the two-part mould. So the silicone rubber I'm using can be bought from Amazon or directly from MBFG. And this particular one is mixed on a ratio of 10:1. So I use the weighing scales to accurately measure this out. And then give it a good stir until it's one continuous colour. So pouring resin in from a height helps reduce the chance of trapped air bubbles in the mould. Once it's all poured, I'll give it a little tap just to try and help any air bubbles release to the top. This takes about 8 hours to cure. This is the other joy about using the Lego to build up the surround. It comes off nice and easy. And the plasticine peels off easy too. This is then repeated for all the parts. I just use a wet wipe to clean down the mould as well as the figures, making sure I remove all parts of the plasticine. So the moulds are then put back into the Lego surround, facing upwards, and then I put a light coating of talcum powder on them, just so this helps release the two parts when I've finished. Then we mix up and pour the silicone rubber to make the second part of this two-part mould. So this is done exactly how we did it in step 2. So once the second part is poured, again just leave it for 8 hours to cure. And then you carefully pull the two moulds apart. And once this is done for all the parts, which is mix up and pour the liquid plastic. Again, I'm using the product by MBFG, which can be bought from Amazon or directly from the company. As you only need a small amount of the resin, rather than pour it from these big bottles, I put it into these smaller bottles. And this is mixed to a ratio of 1:1. So this is poured slowly into the mould. Occasionally I tap the mould to help try and release any air bubbles, and sometimes I give it a little poke with my sharp stick. This is a fast curing plastic, so it only takes 20 minutes to go hard. And then it's a case of seeing whether or not it's worked. So on the whole, the pieces haven't come out too bad. There are a few places where it looks like there might have been a bit of air trapped. But any little mistakes like this can just be rectified with a bit of milliput afterwards. So I did the whole process again to see if the second one would come out any better. So the only part that really seemed to have any problems was the fingers. In some cases the liquid resin didn't quite get to the very end because air was pushed down. So when doing these guys, make sure you have an air release coming from the fingers, just so air doesn't get trapped. And to finish, the figure can just get glued together. As I have some clear resin, I thought I'd have a go at making a translucent figure. So again, this is just a case of mixing it 1:1. As I'd only just poured the liquid from the larger bottles into these smaller bottles, there's a lot of air bubbles. But that's fine, as this is a slow curing liquid which takes about 12 to 14 hours to cure, it gives it plenty of time for these bubbles to disappear. And then just add a couple of drops of whichever paint you want to use. And then when it's complete, it looks like this. Because it's translucent, it's a little bit harder to see the fine detail, so it has more of a jelly look than a see-through look. So that's it, guys. That's how you take one of these figures and make more of these figures. And as much as I'd like to say this is a real gold figure, unfortunately he's not, he's only painted. I would love to have the money to be able to make a gold figure like this, and I am looking into the possibilities of casting tin figures. So that's the end of the tutorial on how to make a two-part mould and how to cast miniature figures. Hope you guys enjoyed it, but as I said at the beginning of the video, this is purely a tutorial, so I won't be using these moulds to make future casts, and to prove that I went on to do this. So after one of my previous videos where I accidentally set something on fire, I seem to kind of enjoy setting plastic on fire. I would like to say this was done in a controlled environment with plenty of health and safety taken into consideration. But that would just be a lie. I set fire to it on my desk. But please don't do this at home though, guys. So as you can clearly see, I have no intention of using this figure, selling this figure, or basically doing anything with this figure other than throwing it in the bin once it's cooled down. So this guy was burning away nicely for some time. If it wasn't for the black smoke coming off of him, I think it'd make a pretty nice decoration on your mantelpiece at Christmas time. Stick a fork in him, he's done. If it wasn't for the fact I'm throwing him in the bin, I reckon this guy could be a possibility for a conversion to a Nurgle. So on to the next guy. He was done with a different kind of resin, so maybe he'll go up a bit differently to the first guy. So there's only one way to find out. So he's caught fire just as quick as the first guy, but it doesn't seem to spread as much. So he's definitely more of a slower burner, and I reckon this guy will probably give you a good 8 hours of candle time. Have I said how much I'm enjoying this? And I hope you are too. So he's kind of lost his head, and I don't think he'll be allowed in any tournaments now. So definitely another one for the bin. So with this chap, rather than setting fire to his head, I thought I'd have a go at setting fire more to his body and see how well that goes. Again guys, all the safety precautions from the previous fires are still in motion for this one. So again, don't try this at home guys. So he's definitely going up a good one. There's even a few bits falling off. To the extent that the only things left are his feet. So just to clarify again, this video is purely a tutorial on how to do 2-part moulds and not how to copy and make your own miniatures. So this last chap, rather than burning him like the other 3, I'm going to wait till November the 5th, strap him to a firework and shoot him up in the air. So I may well video that one guys, so if you are new here, don't forget to hit that subscribe button and turn on the bell just so you don't miss it. So that's the casts I've made taken care of. Now I just have to take care of the moulds. As this bit isn't very exciting, I've speeded it up lots. So the quickest way to destroy these is basically just cutting them up. Although I did want to see what would happen if I tried to set it on fire. But basically not a lot, it kind of just fizzed and sparked, but not much else. So the best way is just to keep on cutting them up. And there we go, everything's cut up or burnt, so there'll be no recasting made from any of these moulds, which should keep everyone happy. I am just waiting on a few other little miniatures that aren't made by any well-known companies that I will be able to use in future casting and moulding videos without any issues. To watch another video guys, just click here. And if you are new here and like what I do, don't forget to hit that subscribe button and turn on the notification bell. And if you can share this with friends and family, that'd be awesome guys. Another way you can help the channel grow is to become a patron, as that helps me out no end, and you get to see behind the scenes photos and videos of what I'm currently working on, as well as see stuff before it comes out on YouTube. That's it guys, bye for now.